Welcome back to Programmatic Champions on Daily Ad Brief. I'm your host, Mike White, and on Programmatic Champions, we're meeting with media companies and experts in the industry to talk about the changes in digital marketing and all the amazing things they're doing with their customers to help their businesses grow. Join us today, we have Marco Vitali from Sonic Lens. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate being asked to be on the program. Nice to see you.
So Marco, tell me a little bit about your company and the services you offer your customers.
So my agency is called Sonic Lens. We're a very niche agency. We're a boutique, and we consider ourselves first and foremost Sonic branding consultants. What we do is we work with usually global brands to help them understand the Sonic landscape that they're trying to play in. Nowadays, more than ever, and growing at an increasing rate, sound is becoming more and more important for brands to understand. For branding purposes, we live in a sound-on world, and everything's becoming more digital. And the way that consumers interact with brands isn't just TV commercials. So it's very important that brands have a sound that people relate to who they are, and that they know how to use it. So we help them figure out what to do with sound to be more strategic. Sound shouldn't just be a creative end of the line tactical tool for marketers. It should be more of a strategic master brand living within the marketing mix tool, because it's very, very powerful. And most marketers don't know how to deal with music, or they're afraid of it. So we help them figure it out, and then we help them execute as well.
What's a brand that inspires you to continue to do greater things that utilize sound elements that are very recognizable?
Well, this is, I guess, a generic answer, but I think McDonald's has done an amazing job of using the Justin Timberlake for about almost 19 years now. What I love about the way they use it is because they totally evolved the original model, which was really started by Intel, at least the first super successful case, which is Intel, which is always the same exact sound at the end of a commercial, which is a mnemonic. But McDonald's has taken the idea of owning a melody as opposed to a distinct static sound, and having that melody the part that people remember, and then using that melody whatever and however it's needed to match the creative of any spot, in any commercial, in any country, in any language, in any musical style or instrumentation. So they've successfully proven the model of flexibility in audio branding as far as the mnemonic is concerned. And I think that's good for the industry, and it kind of proves and evolves the sonic branding world in the direction that it needs to go, which is more and more flexible, less and less static.
What's the biggest change What's the biggest change that you see coming up in the way that people are going to start marketing their businesses over the next 12 to 24 months?
I would say inevitably it's the effects of digitization and the effects of, I think, what we've just gone through and continue to go through with COVID, and everyone living virtually and networking virtually and doing business virtually and consuming content virtually. I think the digitization is what's changing the way marketers brand and reach consumers, and why that's important in my world, which is sonic branding, is that everything is sound on. The way people consume social media sound on. The way they watch multiple screens at once. The way more than half the country is supposed to be on smart speakers within a year. Everything is sound on, and I think visuals are becoming less the lean on go-to way to brand yourselves. I think visuals in many situations are disappearing, and so brands are finding themselves all of a sudden almost in a state of emergency, where they have to have something sonic that people will recognize in the absence of a visual logo or a tagline. And I also think the oversaturation of visuals is making them less impactful. And people are still very open to sounds. They invite sounds, they welcome them, they relate to them. So I think sonic branding is becoming more and more important because of the digitization of how people consume content.
Marco, so how does a relationship start with you, and how do you identify the right sounds for the customer? What's that onboarding process like?
So we have a unique process. I know it's unique because I've run various music agencies and I've worked with a lot of ad agencies, and I know how it works in this field, which is kind of evolved from a lot of music houses decided to go into sonic branding because there's a need for it. And so it's really mostly treated like a creative exercise. And it needs to go much deeper and more sophisticated than that. When agencies that focus on creating visual logos do that process, it's very sophisticated and research oriented, and that's the way that we approach it. It's hard to talk about music. It's very subjective, and therefore, especially marketers who may or may not be musicians or composers or producers fear it, and they just relegate it to the end of the process as a creative exercise. What we do is we break it down really into the most common denominator language in the universe, which is math. We analyze all the internal communications of a brand. Then we analyze the competitive brands and their communications that have sound. And I don't just mean TV commercials. I mean really anything that has sound and impact. We look at it, we listen to it, and we measure over 500 variables for every piece of collateral. Some of them are subjective, so it's human intelligence coming into play. Some of them are objective, where it's just facts and figures. And we are using more and more music data and AI from listening tools. And then we look at best of breed brands that are outside the competitive set of our client to see what we could learn if they're doing a good job conveying certain brand adjectives or brand personalities that are important to us. We'll look and see how they're doing it and see what we could learn. At the end of the day, we end up with tons of data. We're able to, since we have data now, as opposed to just my opinion or I think this is what it needs or my creative instincts, we have actual data about the whole competitive landscape, and we're able to visualize with our clients where they are on positioning grids and do all kinds of more sophisticated exercises that allow people to talk about music with comfort and with strategy. And then we also do other processes in workshopping, such as mood boarding, to see how little bits and pieces of sound evoke certain brand qualities with the people who know the brand the best. At the end of the day, we end up with a very detailed sonic strategy, which we really believe that needs to be in place. That covers all your touch points and all your plans and all your marketing pain points. And once you have a strategy and plan in place, then we actually put together the creative brief. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes in our industry is that brand clients think it's their responsibility to put together a creative brief without doing all the homework first and without the expertise that we have. So we put together a creative brief. It's a multimedia document filled with music and sound and examples and inspirations. We go through this in detail with the clients and brand stakeholders in the agency until everyone aligns. And once we have alignment, then we have something that's really concrete that we can go out to the most appropriate producers and artists to start creating demos. And then it becomes a typical demo process. But we don't just jump into the demo process because we think we know what the brand needs or the visuals inspire a certain direction. We go into the production process and start spending those production dollars once we have an idea of what is strategically beneficial to the master brand as a whole from a marketing perspective that actually approaches their goals and their pain points with the use of sound. So it's a whole different starting point. There's more research and more discipline involved in the beginning, but it always ends up with much more sophisticated results. And everything that's designed, we consider our work to be sonic identity systems, not just mnemonics or a sonic identity or an audio signature. They're actual systems that are more holistic, that are like a visual identity system. Like you wouldn't run a global brand without a visual identity system that all your global marketing teams know they should adhere to remain consistent, etc. We believe the same thing really should exist for sound, because sound is a form of communication. It's very powerful, and consistency is really the way great brands become iconic. So
that's very fascinating. So, well,
yeah, it was a
Marco,
long-winded answer, but the short-winded answer is it's called music intelligence. That's the process that we bring to clients. It's called music intelligence.
well, Marco, thank you very much for spending the time with us and giving us your insights today, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
To find out more about Sonic Lens and all the amazing things they can do to help your company grow, visit us at dailyadbrief.com. We'll see you next time on Programmatic Champions.